and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So Bernie the Cuck Sanders, remember him? Yeah, we got to talk about Bernie. Apparently, there are some comparisons being brought up at the amongst the Democratic people who feel that perhaps Nikki, that's not her name, Haley, is the one ace in the hole, the one person who could stop Trump, because the liberals need that. Now, the Republican establishment wants to make sure that Trump doesn't become the nominee. You know, there's a lot of people in that echelon leadership that want to control the MAGA movement. But let me just explain to the Republican Party here real quick, okay? Hey, this is one of the rarities where I'm going to badmouth the Republican Party, but not what you think. Republican politicians, the Trump supporters have made it abundantly clear that they don't like you, okay? And I will at least give the Republican primary this credit. They don't have super delegates. And yes, folks, no matter what's going to happen, the Republican primary or the Republican establishment is going to try and make sure that their DNC, that the RNC eventually becomes like how the DNC convention and DNC primary will be. But right now, at least you guys can democratically elect who you want to represent you in the primary. But James Carville says Bernie Sanders is one of the reasons Trump won in 2016, as he praises Nikki Haley and GOP billionaire donors for helping her stay in the race against Trump, because Trump's that bad guy. So let's listen to crazy old James Carville. What's he got to say? And hear what he has to say now. So here we go. All right, James. All right, crazy old grandpa. Tell us what's up.
I don't want to relitigate 2016, but Bernie Sanders cost is a reason. It's one of the reasons that Trump is there. I think this is great that Nikki Haley is saying in.
Okay, look, first of all, Bernie Sanders, we all know, is a nutless wonder. But he isn't the reason why Trump won. The reason why is because Hillary Clinton was a piss poor candidate. I remember walking out of the Philly convention after all that I saw there. Me and Daniel were there in 2016. We covered it. We talked about it. Walking out of it, I knew that there was a 50-50 chance that Trump was going to win because Hillary Clinton just doesn't have what it takes.
That's off to these Republican donors that continue to support her. When, you know, obviously she doesn't have that much chance, but every day that she's in there, every day that she's on the attack is a good day. And she's putting Donald Trump front and center. And you know, a lot of these billionaire Republican donors that I really don't care for very much, thank God. Yeah, I never thought, thank God for maybe the Koch brothers or something, but keep her in.
Thank God for the Koch brothers. What the hell? Just why? Why? Remember, this guy's a liberal. And for some reason, he's deemed an expert
in there and stay on the cutting edge, because that's gonna cost him. I promise you. And I see Liz Cheney is giving us some money. Great, I'm all for it.
We're gonna do a cheers to the Koch brothers and Liz Cheney in 2024.
Oh God! See, it's stuff like this that really, I hope, and don't take this the wrong way, world. But when I hear stuff like that, we're going to rewind it just one more time. I'm so sorry to abuse your ears from this woman who's going to say, we're going to do 3 cheers for the Kochs and Cheney. It's stuff like this that makes me wish and hope that Trump walks away from all his legal problems and becomes the nominee for the Republican Party in 2024. It's stuff like this because I want to see people cry. And yes, kind of secretly, I do want to see him win the general election just to see the liberal meltdown again. I didn't enjoy it for the treat that it was in 2016, but it was delicious to see all those liberals cry. I kind of want to see that meltdown happen again. I want to see people cry. And you know, the internet has improved vastly. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that. I just kind of want to just pour a glass of good whiskey, maybe a nice big glass, and just savor it all in. I'll be up all night just watching people melt down and cry, because that's what I want to see. After hearing stuff like this, it just adds more fuel to the fire.
We're going to do a cheers to the Koch brothers and Liz Cheney in 2024. Welcome to 2024. Here's where we are.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Listen to this crazy old grandpa again. Case study QB. I don't know how you sit through it. You made out stronger stuff than me, sir.
My hat's off to her donors. They hang it in there and and the longer she stays in, the happier I am.
Because it's better.
Listen, Trump supporters, Trump people, listen to me very carefully, Trumpers. Okay? I don't want to talk back from all of you. It's going to be sir, yes, sir. That's all you're going to do. Y'all people better show up to vote in South Carolina so Nikki Haley loses her state, okay? Listen to me, Trump people. You show out in mass. I don't care if you're going to go to jail, if you're going to get married, if you're waiting to see your firstborn child get born. I don't care if you're 6 feet under. All you Trump people better show up to vote in South Carolina, all right? Because I just want to see, after watching these two videos, I just want to see the meltdown happen again, okay? I just want to see it. So all you Trump people better show up to vote. I don't care what your excuse is. Oh, man, I got some internal bleeding. Oh, no, I lost my arm. Dude, I got to go to this job interview. I don't care. Y'all better show up.
Better for the Democrats?
Oh, sure it is. Look, Bernie Sanders really hurt Mrs. Clinton in 2016. No one likes these long, drawn-out primaries, and she keeps hitting him. And if a hopeless Quinnipiac poll is right, but it's taking some kind of toll.
James Carville, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Can you dress By the way, listen, I'm gonna let you all know some television stuff 101. You don't wear striped shirts like this, okay? Not any kind of striped shirt like that on television. Okay, who says you can't learn anything here at Hard Lens Media? We're a family-friendly show, and you get an education too. And then finally, case study. I don't know what you're made out of, but you made out of stronger stuff than me. Discussing the comparisons between the DNC coordination of Hillary Clinton against Bernie to the RNC coordination of Trump over Hillary. Listen, this is our media. These are the journalists.
Welcome to The Beat. Our top story is the debacle inside this Republican National Committee. That is the formal power structure of the National Republican Party. And they are in trouble over the now failed effort, there's the building, to see them try inside that building to hatch a plot to scuttle the remaining 48 state primaries. It's a bid by Republican elites to kneecap the Republican voters that exist throughout the whole country and that they will need in November, and all to try to stop any potential long primary waged by Nikki Haley against Trump. Now, you may recall, we've touched on this story. MAGA allies were floating an RNC resolution that tried to declare Trump basically the nominee to put a thumb on the scale before the rest of the votes come in.
And that's not right to do. Because remember when the RNC first came out, everyone must sign a loyalty pledge, and Trump said no to it? I agreed with him on that, yes. Hey, listen, Republican voters, do you like your primary the way it is? You should keep it that way, because the RNC establishment wants to turn into like how the DNC has it. And by the way, if you're a diehard vote blue, no matter who person, your vote is only just a participation trophy, okay? Your vote doesn't matter in the DNC primary. It's going to be Biden and it's going to be Kamala, okay? You're wasting your time. The super delegates and the establishment, the people in the closed rooms already know who they want as their nominee. Your vote doesn't matter in the DNC primary.
There's, of course, only been one primary. Now, they've backed down from that in public, but new reporting suggests the RNC chair's call was well received by Trump aides. And now tonight, reports are that one of the top-ranking House Republicans is pushing basically the same discredited message as the RNC did, but this time trying to corner Trump endorsements in the House by arguing that it is all over. The National Party's entire purpose and their requirement is to empower the party's voters, whether it's Democratic or Republican in this country, right? It could be any kind of party, but to empower the voters to choose nominees. If they fail to do that, they fail to be a credible party.
Both parties are not credible, okay? Both parties are owned by Wall Street, the big banks, corporations. Sometimes I feel like running through a brick wall, Sometimes I just feel like just screaming, run down Michigan Avenue saying it's all pointless. It's all worthless. Everything is shite.
And how can you even have primaries sponsored by an institution if they, in public, are rigging things? Now, when Hillary Clinton had allies who did far less than this busted RNC plan, but they were caught privately pushing against Bernie Sanders' candidacy, That caused major strife at that year's Democratic convention.
Now, let's look back at 2016, because I remember 2016. I remember that convention. Me and Daniel were there. We covered it in Philly, the city of brotherly love, in Pennsylvania, Philly. And I remember how Bernie Sanders supporters were being bullied, how they were being stalked and harassed and doxxed, how women were being assaulted, yes, in all forms, and that's all I could say because of the YouTube guidelines. All their stories were the same. And the reason why they were pushing back and being violent is because they were being attacked and harassed endlessly. I remember the last days of the convention when Hillary Clinton was named the nominee. I saw firsthand people being physically assaulted. Green Party people, Bernie Sanders supporters being physically assaulted by Clinton people. Don't believe the lie that there was peace and love. Oh, no, there wasn't. Oh, no, there wasn't.
Some of those protesters throwing a coffin over the fencing into
Perfect.
the restricted area.
Perfect.
Can I just say to the Bernie or bust people, you're being ridiculous.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Right? Thank you, Sarah Silverman. Didn't you also get canceled by the same liberal SJW crowd too? All those people were with Hillary Clinton? Yes, you did. So you know what? I'm glad all those people were being ridiculous. How did it all turn out? Hey, Trump's running again in 2024.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Hundreds of Bernie Sanders delegates walked out of the convention.
Yes. And there were reasons why they were walking out. It's because they were being pushed out. They were being bullied. They were being harassed. I talked to a lot of delegates there. I talked to a lot of volunteers there. Their stories were all the same. Men and women, young and old, all different colors of the rainbow. All their stories were the same, making them seem like they were a power play, and yet they got abandoned by Bernie. You nutless freaking wonder, Bernie. That's right. That's right. Shut up. Because don't forget. By the way, you can look this up on the internet. Remember when there were Bernie Sanders supporters who were protesting in front of the DNC convention, right? As it was being covered. We need to switch it over. And on the stage, it's Boyz II Men dancing. Don't want to let the American people know what's going on. That we had a corrupt lady named Hillary Clinton who was working with the DNC establishment to secure the nomination. Yeah, I remember that. By the way, don't ask her husband what his association was. It was a guy first named Jeffrey, last name E.
It went on like that, and
and you and people at corporate media were more than happy to slander and smear and harass Bernie Sanders supporters. I remember when the Washington Post did not one but 16 negative articles of Bernie Sanders in one day. Must have sucked to be Fox News. I mean, usually they're the ones who are like, oh, that communist Bernie Sanders, and like they're being outmaneuvered by the Washington Post.
if you want a full deep history, there was more than one issue at play, to be sure. But a big part of it was the anger by the actual evidence that some people inside the DNC were unfair.
No, it's a factual, correct assessment. I can't wait for the day when MSNBC and CNN go bankrupt.
That came out later, and I'll remind you of it, but that was, by any evidentiary standard, very small compared to what the RNC's chair, McDaniel, now admits to trying to do in public.
I'm looking at the math and the path going forward, and I don't see it for Nikki Haley. I think she's run a great campaign, but I do think there is a message that's coming out from the voters, which is very clear. We need to unite around our eventual nominee, which is going to be Donald Trump.
Do you have actual knowledge and awareness that he pushed the RNC to do that and then pulled back?
The people that pushed it are his people. At the end of the day, this is not about the RNC. This is about the American people.
Haley blaming Trump, it's his allies doing it. And what you heard there from McDaniel was the height of MAGA elitism. You can say there's a part of MAGA that's people out in the country.
So in other words, what they're saying is that the Trump people are like the Hillary Clinton people. No. The RNC establishment is working with the DNC establishment to make sure Trump's not the nominee.
and holding normal jobs, doing normal things, and you can debate their ideology. But there is a growing and pernicious set of beltway, hypocritical, anti-democracy, MAGA elitists.
Evidence! Evidence! Because it seems to me that there's been nothing but roadblocks trying to stop Trump from getting the nomination, kicking him off the ballot at the behest of RNC and DNC establishment leaders. Okay? Now, Trump is no saint, and yes, there are people within the Trump movement who do want Trump to be the nominee, but here's the thing. There's a lot of roadblocks trying to stop Trump. They're doing everything they can to make sure he doesn't get the nomination. From indictments to lawsuits to his mugshot, everything. Trying to kick him off the ballot, everything. But who's supporting him? Some party bigwigs or the people? It's the people. And if I was a Trump supporter, I would really be insulted and offended that you're being compared to, number one, the Hillary Clinton people. I mean, come on. Come on, Trump people. Where's your pride at? Y'all better go on that Twitter and start showing everybody what's what.
And they have cushy jobs and they rotate through the beltway just like anyone else. And they have to make sure Republican voters and other people who have other ideas about what they think MAGA means don't find out how crooked they are, to use one of the terms that Donald Trump used to use. Remember, Trump only has 32 delegates thus far. There has been one full primary and one caucus. Haley has 17. You need over 1,000 to secure the nomination. So when these MAGA elitists come out and tell their own voters who are waiting to participate in the process,
the Republican Trump supporters are not waiting for their leaders to tell them what to do. The Trump people are going to do what they want to do, not at the behest of their politicians. All right. They've already made that decision. It was a foregone conclusion. Okay. Just like how the Bernie Sanders people made their own decisions, just like how third party people make their own decisions. They're not waiting for the leadership to tell them what to do. I like how the media is actually portraying this.
Process that the Republican Party created for the purpose of choosing delegates, they are in a pinch. The voters here are being iced out by the MAGA elitists. This is Republican war. Think about it like this. The DC plan for the Republican Party was to undercut an estimated 60 million or more people who would potentially vote in these scheduled primaries based on registered Republicans. Now, there are many stories in politics that are about red versus blue or right versus left. This is not that kind of story.
Uh-huh. Thank you for that, for this earth-shattering analysis. Okay, so what can we take away from this? What can we learn? What can we unpack here about the media trying to make Nikki Haley into a thing as she's like this resistance fighter, and how everyone's saying that Trump is secretly trying to control the system? No, Trump is like, he's part of the whole political system as a whole, but he is not the person controlling everything behind the scenes. His voters are going to vote how they feel like, because they've made it abundantly clear that they were going to vote for him in 2016, 2020, and yes, in 2024. They're not waiting for their leaders to give them the orders to vote. They were going to vote for him regardless. Same time, too, when we look at the previous DNC convention of 2016 and in comparison to Nikki Haley and, well, who she is and compared to Bernie Sanders, she doesn't have that dog in her. All right. She's no Bernie Sanders equivalent. Bernie Sanders, as I'm ashamed to say it, in 2016 and 2020 was able to bring out crowds. Nikki can't do that. Nikki is incapable of doing something like that. She doesn't have what it takes. They're trying to make her into a thing she's not. And so that's why when the South Carolina primary happens, it'll be very funny if she loses her state. I hope that would be the case. If not, it won't be a fun night to cover. But if she does lose, and if she loses greatly, I'm going to laugh. You'll hear me laughing out loud, no matter what state you live in. You'll hear me laughing, because it's something I want to see, because the liberals are making her into the last best hope to stop Trump. Nikki Haley doesn't have what it takes. Simple as that.